Yeah, we are back.
We've returned.
Yeah.
And, yeah, thanks. One fan.
One big fan. Yeah.
This is wonderful. We've returned to answer question number 2.
Oop.
And so I already screwed up the slide deck. It said, how are my competitors doing, the
That's
first slide.
right.
And this time it says, what are my competitors doing? So I'm cheating. We're going to answer both of those questions. The whole point here, and we kind of know this, right? There's nothing more emotional than talking about your competitors. There's nothing more that kind of gets people fired up. Executives, hey, what's going on with so-and-so? This is what happens in all of our jobs. We hear it all the time. And if you think about the role that we literally just talked about that feedback plays throughout the consumer journey, your competitor, it's the same thing. They have feedback happening throughout their consumer's journey, and it plays an important role as well. So it's not just about knowing how you're doing. It's knowing how you're doing relative to how your competition is doing across all that same stuff. And
Especially when your CEO comes in and says, what is competitor X doing? That's where all of us scramble and try to figure out an answer, which we hope we can provide through the platform now.
And so the idea, we launched a product about 3-4 weeks ago called Competitive Intelligence. And basically, I'm going to walk you through where it's at today and kind of the vision of what we're building and all that fun stuff. We've had a competitive reporting solution for a number of years. And basically what that was, and a lot of people own it, a lot of people use it and love it, it was a scorecard, right? You defined your competitors, and we told you how you compared for reputation score, for review volume, and for star rating. And every single customer that I talked to would say, yeah, but why? Why are they better than me? Why am I better than them? What is the context? It's not good enough for me to tell Joe, well, they're better.
Because there was no drill down.
Because you couldn't dig into it, right? And so we launched this product with the intent to really dig into this information and to put it simply, let you do the exact same things you can do with your own feedback data with your competitors. I got to have a little caveat, public feedback data. And so what we did was we basically said, tell me your competitors. Let us get all their locations loaded up into our platform. Let's put them side by side with your own. Let's throw in all the verbatim reviews that exist about that business, and then let's allow you to really dig into it. And so in this example, I'll kind of take you through a little narrative. Let's say I'm looking at that, and I see, looks like our competitor launched a brand new product, and people seem to like it, right? This is something that we need to be aware of. So this is step 1, reviews data about our competitors. Step 2 is I probably want to look at social data. Right? And this is where it comes back to kind of like buzz, emotion, what's going on out there. So now I can see, well, you know what? They're being discussed a lot more across the web than they were. This product launch caused buzz. And the emotion behind that is it's positive. They're doing good things. Again, I need to be aware of this. I need to read this feedback. I need to understand what's happening. The other part where I think it gets a little bit fun is we have your surveys, and we know when they launched that product. I can now compare how our surveys were impacted based on what's happening in this public world for our competitors, right? Did we see our CSAT or our NPS score dip after that product launch? Do we have comments within our surveys where someone says, well, you know, you don't do that fancy thing your competitor does? These are the things, again, we want to be able to bring these feedback sources together and study. And then lastly, what has that impact been on search ranking? So literally, let's say that product is a keyword that you care about. Is my competitor now ranking higher than before for that keyword? And how does that compare to how I'm performing? So to me, this is what I'm going to call the 360-degree view of competitive intelligence. The idea is to bring all of these sources together and allow you to be able to know everything that you possibly can about what your competition is doing, what the sentiment is around their brand and their locations, and literally break down into all the verbatim so you can start to drive strategy. So Pranav, I just showed the vision. I'm going to need you to show how we're actually bringing this to life.
All right. So Phil, you talked about the fact that we launched a competitive intelligence solution. That solution is available today. So you guys can actually go to the 5-star bar, ask to see, or if you want to do a separate demo.
You know what I forgot?
Yes, please.
We can show you it.
That's right.
This was not planned. I actually just forgot. Can we roll the video that we had queued up? let's show what competitive intelligence looks like today. All right, left-hand side, your brand. Right-hand side, your competitors. This is looking at trends, breaking it down by top performing, bottom performing locations, regional views, basically anything you want to see, the way you segment your own business, how we are going to be able to tell you you're comparing to your competitors. And as always, we want you to take an action. You find something that is, we need to do something about it. I can forward this insight, forward this report onto whatever the stakeholder is. We'll see if I have any typos on this one since Pranav keeps making fun of me about it. And the idea being, hey, do something about this. We're struggling in this region. This location is struggling in A, B, or C. And forward it on. And then lastly, experience insights. We're talking about this part of our platform a lot. Now I'm going to just look at one of my competitors. This is not my data. This is my competitor's data. And we're going to be able to tell you what their strengths are.
What their weaknesses are.
What their weaknesses are. Looks familiar because it's the same stuff you can do with your own data. What people are talking about, whether it's positive or negative. And then again, all the verbatim reviews, right, that you can dig into. We've had some customers that we've tested this out with build content strategies, ad campaigns, and a bunch of other marketing things related to, well, I know, the data tells me that we're better at this part of our business than them. Why not talk about it? Why not promote that idea? And so this is kind of where we're at. We really think that this, by the way, alone is super powerful. And now it's probably appropriate to ask you to say what we're building.
Well done, nice save. All right, guys, look. Experience insights is being referenced these many times because it is the cornerstone of what we want to do. We want to bring all of that feedback in one place, help you make sense of it. You see something highlighted called feedback type? A lot of you today are using that drop down to load up what we call taxonomies. Simple terms, think of them, taxonomies, as a lens with which you view your data. So if you put on the test drive lens, you're looking at all the data with test drive in mind. If you put a billing lens, you're looking at all that data with billing in mind. A lot of our customers, what they've done with us is they've actually taken their company values and they've coded them up inside our experience insights. Why? Because they want to look at, hey, are we true to our company values or not? Do the company values invoke a positive sentiment or not? What has been missing when we launched the competitive intelligence offering is this ability to now look at your competitors and see if they are actually doing a better job at your company values than you are. And so what we'll be doing next quarter is we'll be introducing a way to sync your tenant and the competitive tenant together so that anytime you make changes in that taxonomy, those changes carry over into your competitive intelligence tenant. So you can actually look and see competitor X is doing better at sales pressure than you are. Now, that was about reviews related data. For those of you who don't know, we also capture social data and social listening data. Why is this important? It is important because a good section of customers and prospects are now starting the journey on social media. Show of hands. How many of you have Instagram installed on your mobile phone? All right, nice. So what is happening is there's a section, there's an age demographic that is using Instagram as their way to find and engage and shop from brands online. And so that is why we wanted to build a competitive intelligence offering. This is coming from an actual product screenshot. So this exists in production today where we can look at the rental car industry and actually tell you how the rental car industry is performing. And so two big things to highlight here, right? You'll see something called share of voice. And a lot of you, if you're like me, you'll go, what is share of voice? Share of voice is basically telling you which brand is basically owning the mind of the customer or the consumer. Who are the consumers looking at as their source of data? And why is that important? Because competitor X just launched a new product, and if they're starting to get all of share of voice on social using that product, you need to come up with a way to combat that. That is the competitive intelligence layer that previously was missing. We now have it because we do social listening. So then you might ask me, well, why am I showing you this slide in the future state? I'm showing you this slide in the future state because it's our goal to unify that social data with your reviews data in that competitive intelligence tenant. You can start using this today, by Q3 of this year, by end of Q3 of this year, we'll have these unified in a single platform. So you go in, you look at your reviews data, click on social, you look at your social listening data. We want to make it as simple as that, especially for influencers. Now, what are influencers, Phil?
Well, I'll give you just a quick story, because we've done this before, and it's the same thing, right? An executive comes down to you, and they're like, I heard about, what's this chatter I hear about so-and-so? And I was talking to someone yesterday who said they were into our social listening solution, and they were able to literally identify, oh my gosh, someone with, it was like 6 million followers had tweeted about their competitor's brand. And I mean, that's a pretty simple thing to be able to say, well, you're probably hearing about this because this person is broadcasting about their encounter, their interaction with that brand. And it's a simple use case, but this is the kind of thing that you want to be alerted about and you want to know as quickly as possible. Again, and maybe it's because we report up in some way, shape, or form. Our use cases are always like, someone told me to do something,
right,
and I really need to tell them what's going on, and it needs to be smart. That's what we want to provide with this kind of solution.
So the bubbles that you see are what would be that 6 million follower influencer. Why is that important? Because if they are having a poor experience and they have the share of the voice, they are basically going to completely change the way consumers see your brand. So this competitive intelligence solution on the social side is available today if you want to check it out. Timmy Chu, our product leader on social, and Camilla Binks, I don't know where Camilla is at, they would be happy to show you that in more detail as well. And like we do with everything, we're obviously going to bring you the sentiment data as well. So you're not just looking at how the posting is happening, you're also looking at what is the sentiment associated with these consumers. Which brings me to search. It's still the predominant way we all find brands online. We start our journey with search. Now, why is this important? For a while now, Google My Business, Google Business Profile,
GBP now.
GBP.
No one will
it's
ever
still a
learn
struggle, guys. But I'll keep using Google My Business for those of us who are still familiar with that term. Google My Business had this ability to see the keywords that consumers are using. These are the keywords consumers are typing into the search box to find your location. So if you went into your Google My Business profile, you looked at insights, you would be able to look at what are the keywords that consumers are typing in. Well, last Friday, so it's fairly recent, Google actually invited us into a private beta with them where they're now going to send us all of these keywords, the keywords that consumers are using to find you through API to our platform. Now, why is that important? It's important because if you're like me and you have a Google My Business profile that is all about board games, you can actually look at how consumers are finding you, and if you have multiple locations, you can roll all of that data up and start to understand what are the keywords that consumers are using. Now, this allows you to actually understand whether all of your locations are performing well with respect to those keywords. Why? Because it can mandate spending more data on paid media or using one of our partners from an organic perspective to improve your SEO performance. This is a key piece of insights. Ziad Abushiri, our product leader on business listings, would love to talk to you more about that and give you more details about that. But we thought, why not take this step, a 3-step forward, right? We want to do competitive intelligence with those same set of keywords. Because you have keywords available for these businesses, we can set these up, and now you can do a comparison with competitor X and actually see, are they performing better on keywords that consumers are using to find me than I am? In which case, I need to change my strategy around SEO. So we are super excited about this functionality that Google is introducing. We think it can be very compelling for our users. Why? Because there have been a bunch of competitive intelligence solutions on SEO. This is the first time you're going to have Google feed that data to us, and that data informs how people are doing on competitive intelligence, right? This is the compelling idea for us. We want to use this data so that when you have that conversation with your C-suite, you are confident in sharing why it is that you need to pay attention to competitor X. Now, don't just hear this from me. We actually have a customer who has been using competitive intelligence, and I would love to bring Greg Benson in. He's the managing director of Greystar Marketing, and with Joe Fuca to talk about how Greystar leverages competitive intelligence today. Joe Fuca, come on in, sir.